Hey, how are you guys doing? This is Matt, or if you want to call me a reviewer in a bathrobe, and this is Riley, the long-haired wonder. We're not too sure about that one right now, but we have seen Godzilla x Kong, New Empire, I think is what it's called.
I think so.
I saw it twice. And for me, it was nothing but, I guess you could say, same verse. How's that go? That saying go, same verse, second as the first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's how it sort of went with me.
I think the whole expression is same verse, second as the first, a little bit louder and a whole lot worse. Is that
Yes.
Is that how you felt?
Well, it was just like I've said, the story felt like it was rushed, and it seemed like they were trying to cram in a lot of things. Like they had more. I was hoping, because I don't. You probably haven't seen any of Monarch Legacy, I think is what it's called. But in that, there is somewhat of a connection between this movie and that. But in that movie, they talk about time dilation, and I was hoping to see some of that in that. But in this movie, it seems like they forgot all about that, about when you go into the hollow earth, and if you stay down, like, okay, a minute down there could be several hours up and back on the surface or whatever.
So would that be according to the established cinematography, like the video canon? There's a difference in time. So if you went into Hollow Earth, you may age slower or faster depending on the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on.
See, I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, that was the. Well, of course, that's all about gravity. Of course, that's one thing. The gravity situation they didn't overlook, because I always had this theory that's why everything grew so big, because there's not a real thing, because up and down really aren't defined. I mean, really, there's not really a big up and down on the surface. Well, there is, but you know what I mean?
I don't think so.
Well, when you were watching it, did you notice how
they had
there was a plane here and a plane here? Mm-hmm. So there was things
basically
crawl.
Yeah.
But if you got high enough up, you could jump up to that other plane. Mm-hmm. So there are gravitational, basically phenomenon down there, to where that's why I believe those creatures were able to grow that large. I don't know, but I think so. Look, take notes, Hollywood.
I don't know. I'm not overly familiar with this specific monster verse. I mean, I've seen some Godzilla, King Kong. Mm-hmm. I don't know the lore very well. So for someone like me who is not a very avid fan, I really enjoyed it. I didn't feel like it was rushed, but again, I don't know the context of the whole story, so I'm viewing it purely as someone on the outside looking in. And to me, I thought it was actually kind of cool and sparked my interest to learn the lore a little bit more. Well, so I think that's, from my viewpoint, being an outsider to the realm of monsters, but for somebody that is more familiar with it, you felt a little different, I think, right? Well,
no, I mean, yes, from that frame too, mm-hmm. Like who's like kaiju, or what they call them titans, and this. But are even going back as far as the Toho monsters or things like that. But no, that's not exact. I'm talking about actually the story itself, or the I don't want to call it lazy writing, or what would you call it? like you know, oh, I can see where this is going. Like it wasn't very surprising.
I think for me, the writing made it seem like there really was a sense of urgency. So I think I see what you're saying with a rapid timeline, but to me, it added to the urgency that, hey, Godzilla's he's getting prepared for something big. He knows something's happening, and it really did to me. I felt like it created a sense of urgency. But
CGI wasn't that good.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, I guess there were parts. Yeah, I thought the little monkey, the little guy, he looked kind of.
Yeah.
You could tell he was very CGI at times.
And Godzilla I thought was going to be a bit slimmer. They had talked about him being slimmer. I mean, the purple thing about him. I don't know. I've always thought maybe the Titans were biological weapons, but I guess that whole thing's out now. But no, then the like I said, trying to squeeze a lot into this film, like the Eewee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that I thought would have been cool, but then I don't know. And then they said, oh, an Iwi from Skull Island was going to say, I'm like, okay, who's that going to be? We know who that is, and that's her. And then the language thing, where not that she couldn't talk, but that's not what it meant. She was reading those scripts, like I'm like, you are reading a language that's been dead, not known to the surface for how long? I mean, the ones that were writing it were, I think. I mean, if they would have had the girl translate it instead of the mother, I think would have been better.
Like have her sign the translations.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about that. I just viewed it more of she probably, with all the research she's done, has begun to understand the language and stuff. So I didn't really see that as a weird part, but I do see what you're saying.
I don't know. I guess I'm very, I don't come from it, but I'm very critical and a critic type person. I don't know. But, and then the whole fight I can understand with Godzilla and King Kong, the fight that they had before they teamed up, because they want to, I guess that's a way to say, oh, they may have somewhat of intelligence, but they're still animals. I don't know what you thought about that.
I'm not sure what the question was.
Okay, when King Kong went back to the surface for the second time to get Godzilla to help him fight like the Scar King and I don't remember what that ice monster was, which they're actually saying is less intelligent. She's more like a dog.
Well, she was also controlled by
Scar King.
Again, I don't know the lore, and forgive me.
I don't either. I don't either. I want to know what the heck that was.
Because he had it on that, that
vertebrae.
Big long spine, and he used that to control whatever monster that was. But I don't know. I didn't really think it was bad, because you think about Kong, a giant, ape, and apes are very intelligent, adaptable. I don't know, I kind of appreciated seeing the side of him at the very beginning when the movie first opens with him hunting, and then, I really enjoyed being able to have the CGI and the people who did the film work create his facial expressions. Kong doesn't speak, but I thought they kind of did a good job with his body language.
Yeah, I liked all that. But what I'm just saying is like one thing I've thought about. I don't know if you ever watched it, but there was this one animated series in the early 2000s. It was a like Kong sort of movie where humans could, like they called it bio-merging. There was a technology, they put this little device on their ear and they could bio-merge with animals.
I know. The only thing I can even think of that, and it's not even close, was Animorphs, dude.
I remember Animorphs.
That's the only thing I can think of.
I remember Animorphs. I want to read the series of that.
Yeah.
But no, I was always like, this would have been cool if if maybe. Oh, that just reminds me of another thing. Do you think those were natural things? Or do you think he set those traps up himself?
I think he set those up himself.
Okay, now that's bringing...
Because there was a specific reference point where they said something about that's his hunting grounds.
Yes.
So it's almost like he had those traps and things like that because... I don't know the timeline, but how long time has elapsed there, but he's obviously adapted to his area. But yeah, he had like those little areas and pitfalls and things like that.
It seems like they waved away the whole time dilation thing because people are coming in back and going down there with, like through those portal things. So the like time from there and on the surface is going to be about the same, but in the Monarch movie, they showed that people went down there it was in the 60s, and then the guy, there was some kind of cyclone, and he came back around 80 something, and the little boy he left behind was grown up, and he was still like in his 30s.
Okay. He aged much slower.
Well, yeah, because that I don't know if you remember me telling you about how satellites in space, because of the gravity.
Oh yeah, I do remember vaguely.
Yeah, it all has to do with gravity. Gravity.
So I guess. From this perspective, me being, like I said, I watched it a little bit as a kid, had some Godzilla stuff, like, I liked it, but it was one of just like a casual interest. So after seeing this, it definitely sparked an interest to follow up this movie. I know this is kind of a later in the timeline. Where would be, if anybody viewing this liked this movie, where would you suggest they start?
Well, if you're going to go with, this is what they're referring to as the monster verse. This is the it's not Toho. It's basically, if you want to go back to all the other that brings me up another question. Why has Godzilla got top billing?
What does that mean?
Like first on the name it's Godzilla X Kong.
I don't know.
When really it's really more of a
Kong-centered video.
Yeah, didn't you think it was more Kong-centered than Godzilla?
I would say so. Yeah.
But going back to your recent question, start out with the basically all of these movies that they've made since, I don't know, when did that come out? I think it came out in 2016. The first Godzilla movie, which really, that wasn't really a Godzilla movie.
You're talking like the long, skinny Godzilla?
No, that was a totally different American-made Godzilla. They won't even refer that to as Godzilla anymore. I mean, the diehard fans, they'll call it as Zilla or something.
Because I remember watching that at the drive-in movie theater when I was a kid, and I thought it was cool because, again, I didn't know a whole.
I thought it was actually interesting. I still watch it to this day because I think it's interesting because of some of the science behind it. It's I saw it down at our local theater here. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I know a lot of people are like, what? That can't be Godzilla. It's too small and it, hiding in the train tracks and it's asexually reproducing. I'm like, well, it's not actually. I don't know. I thought it was good. Okay, I mean, it's a guilty pleasure if you want to say, but no, the one that came out, and I think it came out in 2016, and that was just called Godzilla. And then the one there was a Godzilla, not Godzilla, but Kong Skull Island movie. I don't know if you ever
seen it. I wanted to see it specifically because John C. Reilly was in it.
Now, who's he?
He's the guy who plays Dr. Steve Brule. He's got the jacket. He was like was he a pilot or a captain or something? He's
when you're in doubt, ask Google.
No, I'll show you a picture because I can't really. I saw the movie once.
And that came out in, I think, 18.
And I liked it. Just one, I wanted to see it because I love John C. Reilly. He's just goofy, and his jacket, I think it said like something about good health on the back. And one of Dr. Steve Brule's things he does is he says, "For your health." And so I just thought it was a fun, I don't know, Kong Skull Island, John C. Reilly. This guy.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't really explain it.
He's the guy who also goes. He was in what do you call it? The Two Brothers.
He was in Step Brothers and stuff like that.
And then he's also in that one show that you like.
Check it out with Dr. Steve Brule. Yeah, I love it. So yeah, I don't know if anybody's able to see this, but obviously most people know Step Brothers, John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
I like the back of his jacket.
I liked that movie because I liked the way him with that katana,
mm-hmm.
And then of course after that they made Godzilla King of the Monsters, or was it called Godzilla versus no, it was called King of the Monsters, where he have you ever seen that? The American one, not the
honestly.
So, didn't you say you saw Burning Godzilla?
I just remember seeing it from like different games and knowing a little bit about the lore and stuff like that. My buddy's a huge Godzilla fan.
The Burning Godzilla one that they made for the MonsterVerse after they nuke him to revitalize him. Oh, absolutely wonderful. And then they also introduced some other things from the Toho lore into it. So I would just check all those out if you want to catch up on up to this film. But so there are good and there are bad, but I do think the one before this was better. I do think the one before this was better.
It was better. Do you remember the name of it?
It was Kong versus Godzilla.
Okay, yeah, I did not see that one.
That was Kong versus Godzilla because basically Kong was not living on his island. That's when that little Eevee girl was littler, and they were trying to get into Hollow Earth, and that's when everybody was like, so if Godzilla just blows his atomic breath so far down at the ground, he can basically burn a hole into the Hollow Earth. I was like, that's a little bit far-fetched. all these people, I'm okay with portals getting in there because I'm like, okay, what if it's not actually in the core? Maybe it's like a whole different
dimensional.
Yeah, I'm okay with dimensional things, but yeah, so I think we're going to wrap it up here and catch us next time.
See ya.
See ya.